Italian Football Podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Questions from the Italian Football Podcast Patrons, where you, our patrons, decide what the show is about by simply sending in your questions via DM on Patreon. I'm joined as always by Carlo Garganese. So let's start with the first question, which has been sent in from Geo L. He says, will Inter rest their whole team against Kairat Almaty, or do you think all the Italian team and do you think all the Italian teams will qualify from the league phase? Let's start with the preview then, shall we?
Yeah, so Inter versus Kairat Almaty, Champions League match day 4, Wednesday the 5th of November, 2100 CET at San Siro. And Inter go into this game with 3 games in a row. Stop it, Nima. Three wins in a row. And team news for Inter. I'm not even going to acknowledge what Nima's doing.
I'm sorry, but I don't mean to, but you just say it's so funny. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I love this. I love these moments you have. They are the best. They literally just
read it out the type. I mean, so you laugh at me saying 2100 CET, right? You don't laugh at like these 18-year-old, 20-year-old kids who literally cannot read the clock. They cannot read a clock. Well, they can only read digital time.
No, I'm not criticizing you. I just think it's really funny the way you say it. You literally say it like Montgomery.
How do you say it then? How do you suppose it's the correct way of saying it?
9 o'clock, 9 p.m.
No, but how do you say the 24-hour clock? How do you say it?
I would never use the 24-hour clock.
Well, people do use the 24-hour clock, you know.
Yeah, or 2100 or 2130 or something like that. I don't know.
Exactly.
Do you say 2130?
Yeah, so how would you say 2100? How would you say 9 o'clock?
I wouldn't say 2100. I'd say 9 o'clock.
If you were to use the 24-hour clock,
I don't know.
2100, no?
Well, in Sweden, we say like, if it's like that, in Sweden, we say 2100, like 2100. Like that's how you say it in Sweden. But I just think it's hilarious with 2100 hours. Do like that as well. And I'll be sorry. I'm not making fun of it. It's just
you look at my hand. Everyone look at my hand. Look at my left hand, right? That's normal.
What have you done?
Straight. That's my left hand. That's normal. My right hand, I literally can't. I can't stretch it out.
What have you done?
It's from I had a fight when I was like in my mid-20s. I cut open.
Who did you fight? What happened to your?
I cut open all my hand here.
Ouch!
And I had to have.
This is brilliant to listen to, by the way. Carlos showing an injury he had,
right? And so since then, basically, my hand never fully recovered, and I can't straighten my hand. So,
yeah, I
look at that.
How did you do? Yeah.
So if
people listening to this, now people listening to this, Carlos showing an injury from a fight I assume he had in Bedford in his 20s.
Yes,
which sounds like the most amazing Bedford story ever. But I think we shouldn't say that. But that looks like a serious injury, man. Like seriously.
Yeah. It's okay. I cannot.
How long was your hand incapacitated for?
It was. I can't remember. Like it was. I had to get it stitched.
That's a surgery, isn't it?
3 weeks. No, I never had surgery. They stitched it up. I had to take penicillin, and then when they took the stitches out, it never fully recovered. And you can see, you might be able to. I don't know if you can see anything. You can see this line. It's kind of like sticking out, But it just looked. I just looked a bit deformed with this hand now. Like so sometimes,
I thought it was like an accident you had at the bakery or something.
Sometimes when I wave to people, like it looks really weird. I look kind of like
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
it doesn't really affect me. It just looks a bit strange.
No. Yeah. But anyway, basically the joke of that was you doing.
Yeah. So basically, the point is, I can't really do it.
No.
Yeah. Got alien hands.
Brilliant.
Anyway, get back to the football. Yes. So team news for Inter is Thuram should be back on the bench, I believe. Mkhitaryan is out. Palacios is out. Di Gennaro is out. Darmian is out. What do you think? What's the probable 11 going to be, Nima? Are they going to rest players or half and half again?
Yeah, the thing is, what we've understood. I mean, if previous behavior is any indication of future behavior, Kivu doesn't rotate like Inzaghi at all. He does 4-5 players, maybe 6, but he doesn't go beyond that. It's always between 4 to 6. So I don't think Josep Martinez will start because of he's not. I still, even though he feels better, he's not in a condition to start. I don't expect him to play until the autopsy of the tragic accident has been fully, done, and he knows if he's going to be indicted or not. And also, I don't think he's mentally himself in a place where, when you're in that kind of an accident, I think, it takes some time for you to recover mentally as well. So I don't expect him to start. But I do expect Jan Sommer in goal. I think Di Marco will start because he didn't start against Hellas. I expect to see Acerbi.
Dumfries as well.
Yeah, Dumfries as well. I expect Acerbi and De Vrij to start. Maybe Acerbi as the left centre-back and De Vrij as the centre-back. And Missak as the right centre-back, perhaps. I expect Barella to start. I expect...
Fratesi. Surely get a run out.
Yeah, he should probably start. Fratesi, Barella, and I think Zielinski as well. Sucic or Zielinski, one of the two. And I think up front, I think Thuram might start actually this game. And Esposito. Really? Yeah. I think Esposito and Thuram. Or Lautaro and Thuram. One of those.
So, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Bonnie rested. Yeah.
I think Bonnie will be rested. Yeah.
The odds are insane for this game. So it's a 1-33, which basically means you have to put £33 on to win £1 for Inter to win. And the Kairat Almaty are 25-1, and the draw is 16-1. Prediction: I'm gonna go big win Inter. I think 4-0. I'm gonna go 4-0 Inter.
It's at the San Siro. I expect Inter to walk this game. I really do. This is the last game of these 4 simple ones in the Champions League that are must-win games in order to be in a good position to go through. After that, the Champions League begins for Inter. This is the preliminary stage for Inter. Just like in the league, they have Lazio and Milan and so on. They've got some really tough games coming up. So I expect Inter to kind of walk this game, to be honest. And we should remember, if I'm not mistaken, Inter got Lazio on the weekend before the international break, don't they?
Yes, they do. They play Lazio at home. And then they got Milan straight after the break. The Milan derby straight after the international break. Yeah.
So I do kind of expect... I do kind of expect them to rotate quite a bit, but I also expect them to.
But they'll also want to rack up the goal difference as well, because it could easily come down to that to finish in that top 8. I expect Inter to finish in the top 8 now because they'll have 12 points from 4 games with a healthy goal difference. The goal difference is already healthy; it's already on 9. Get a big win here, 12 points, big goal difference. Looking good. 16 points takes you through. So that's 4 points needed from 4 games. One of those is Borussia Dortmund. So I think Inter 2 years in a row, I think they're going to get in the top 8 again. And that will be important also for the Scudetto race, because Napoli, if they do qualify and they've got a battle to qualify, are not going to finish in the top 8. So that's an advantage. Napoli already are going to have to really sweat it out and play every single one of these 8 games. It's going to take more out of them, while Inter will be able to probably take it easy some of these last games and have 2 less games in the knockouts. So I think Inter are in a good position. As for the other Serie A fixtures, Juventus play Sporting on Tuesday and Napoli play Eintracht Frankfurt on Tuesday. These are 2 must-win games. Juventus have 3 points from 3 games. Napoli have 2 points from... No, sorry. Other way around. Juventus have 2 points from 3 games. Napoli have 3 points from 3 games. These are must-win matches. If either team fails to win, they are in big, big trouble, big risk of getting eliminated, full stop, if they don't win.
Which would be a disaster, really. come on. You know, like it's
Napoli have Frankfurt at home and Karabag at home. Their next two matches, they have to win both of those two matches. It's simple as that, because then after that they've got Benfica away. They have Chelsea at home on the last game, and they've got another game in between. I think it's Copenhagen away. So they have to win these two matches, whereas Juventus have played their harder games in the group, but they only have 2 points. They got Sporting and they got Bodo Glimt away. So they have to also win these next two matches, because they're two of their winnable games. And then they got Paphos at home, which they'll be expected to win. They have to be in position. Yeah.
Eintracht Frankfurt have scored 22 goals in 9 matches, but they've conceded 19 in Bundesliga. I mean, there are goals to get if you know that for Napoli to go against. They
Champions League as well. Yeah, they lost 5-1 at home to Liverpool. Yeah, there's goals, and there's definitely
goals in them. They're not. If
Napoli are struggling to score against them as well, then we know there's an issue. But yeah, must win games, and then Atalanta away to Marseille. Atalanta let themselves down in the last game, didn't they? They only got a draw at home, but they're on 4 points, so they're kind of on schedule. But you know, they've got Marseille and Frankfurt away. The next 2 games, they're winnable games, but they're also games you can easily lose. You know, Marseille's a very difficult place to go.
Very.
So again, Atalanta play Chelsea as well at home. And then they play Athletic at home, and then they play Union SG away, which is a pretty decent game to finish on. But yeah, Atalanta they're in a position that they can qualify, but again, they have to be careful, because they lose this 4 points from 4 games to go. You need 6 points to qualify. You know, Chelsea's one of those. This is, I think, Inter are fine to qualify. It's whether they get in the top 8. The other 3 are in a position where these next 2 games, I think, are going to be vital for their progress. So to answer the question, can all 3 teams go through? I think if Tudor was still at Juventus, I would say now, I don't think Juventus is going to qualify. But obviously with the new manager, that gives them more hope. Napoli, I think surely they have to qualify. They have to. They surely have to qualify. Like I cannot even imagine another Antonio Conte failure. So I feel like they surely can't mess this one up as well. Yeah. So I want to try and be positive and say, yeah, I think all 3 will go through.
I hope so. I really hope so, and I hope that Napoli gets through. I just think his comments that I'm reading right now about the Serie A being stressful is interesting.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you can't have excuses after the transfer market that you've had. You can't. You can. The one thing that he can say is he can say we've been unlucky with injuries, but then it comes down to, is it bad luck? Or is it something that the club and yourself are doing wrong in the training, in the medical management of the conditioning, of the nutrition, of are you training the players too hard? Are you rotating well enough? Like all the questions that we've always asked of Antonio Conte. It's very difficult from the outside when we're not there. We're not seeing things day by day to answer that question. But we can certainly see that there's a trend there, and that something is causing it. So other than that, I don't think you can worry. It's like Arne Slot. Did you see Arne Slot last week? Did you see
the nerve? Like,
did you say how much have they spent this summer?
For real?
I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I just thought, really? You spent what, 500 million or whatever it is, and you're saying that?
But how much was it net? I think the net is also really important. Now, they didn't spend
the net's important,
million.
but they spent like around 500 or something stupid, like 500 million or whatever it was. And he's saying that they basically the transfer market they didn't do enough in the transfer market or whatever. It's just like, really? Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, at least Conte's a little bit more tactful with his moaning. You know, Conte would say, we've bought too many players all of a sudden, like he did this last week when he said they'd bought 9 players and there were too many of them.
Yeah, and if they didn't buy anybody, he would say that they don't have the squad. It'd be rightful to say.
Non ci sono tanti soldini. Non ci sono tanti soldini. As he said when he was at Inter.
Yeah.
Non ci sono tanti soldini. He's hilarious. But he's funnier. Slot is just shameless. Like, when you spent $500 million, I'm not saying net spent, but actual. But
spends $500 million and he still locks up in Federico Chiesa in his dungeon.
I'm not a big fan of this of Arne Slot, and I'm not a big fan of this Liverpool side. I think the reason they won last season was because their important players had the experience required, and they were decisive late on when the quality matches, when the quality shows, the individual quality shows. I think that was Jurgen Klopp's team, really. And I think that Arsenal fluffed last season, to be honest. To me, they were the best team in the Premier League, and they should have won the Premier League, if I'm perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, it looks like they're going to walk it this year, Arsenal.
Well, they should. I mean, for heaven's sake.
I just don't see anybody else consistent enough in the Premier League to win it this year. The only one that may be Man City, if they can go on a run, but I still see weaknesses in that City team. I just think Arsenal will be consistent.
Yeah, we're on the same. We're on the same.
3 goals conceded this season so far, which is mad.
No, I agree with you. But so yeah, I mean, I hope all 3 win. I think Napoli, that will be a high-scoring game. I hope the Spalletti new manager bounce continues against Sporting, and I hope that Juric can do something against Marseille, because I just don't want him to get sacked this early on. I think it would be so unfair. And we want all the Italian teams through, don't we? So
of course.
Right, to all people listening and watching this on YouTube or listening to this on various podcast platforms who aren't signed up to the Italian Football Podcast, this is a preview of the Q&A show, which we have every week, and Carlo's laughing for reasons I don't know.
Because you call me, Mr. Burns, all people, like, what?
What do you want me to do? Well, they are people. Are they not people? What are they? Are they animals? Like, what do you mean?
No, that's what I mean. Like, all people. Like, to everyone listening.
Should I call them then?
People. It's just the way you said it. It's all people.
All Homo sapiens. Like, what do you want me to say?
It's the way the emphasis on people.
Like everyone.
There's non-people listening to this show.
Well, yeah. Well, to everyone listening to this who is not a patron or a YouTube member, if you're listening to this on the various podcast platforms, or if you're watching this on YouTube, this is the weekly Q&A show where we answer the questions sent in from our members on YouTube or patrons on Patreon. If you want to send in a question and get this show in full immediately when it's published, then go to patreon.com/TIFP and sign up, or YouTube membership. YouTube memberships are $5.99 a month. Patreon is $3.99 a month. And there's also annual options where you get 20% off if you sign up on Patreon if you want to listen. So yeah, right. Let's move on to the next question, which comes in from Jesse S. He says, busting out the tinfoil hat for this one. What are the odds of the corporate rats at the Serie A league office pressuring the refs for more action and goals after a historically low-scoring match day 7 that had 11 goals scored in 10 games?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what he's referring to, but I think
he's talking about this was sent in last week after last week's shit show, and there was lots of goals, and then match day 7 there was 11 goals across 10. I think it was 11
all
goals.
I would say is this, in a general point of view, that anybody, all the people that are the people in charge of football at the very highest, FIFA, UEFA, all the leagues, they want as many goals, as much chaos as possible, because that's what brings more neutrals into the game. And in the end, I think that ends up working against you, because, you can't just have chaos. It ends up, but generally they don't want low scoring games. So that's why every single rule change there's ever been made in football, it's always been to promote more goals and to make it more and more difficult to defend. The art of defence has been lost.
100%.
Which has penalised Italy 100%. And Italian football more than anything else, because over history, Italy and Italian football have always been the best defensively. They've always been the smartest, the best tactically, and that's all been that strength has been removed. That weapon has been removed from our artillery, because we can't
from
make
our
use
arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, artillery, Arsenal. Yeah, but yeah, it's been removed from us. So
no, 100%.
So as a general point, they like we said, like I've said, and I think you agree with me, that penalties, the way that penalties are given now is outdated, and it needs to change. That will never happen, because how many penalties do you get given in football? You remove penalties, or you make it harder to get penalties, or make the penalty area smaller, so there's less penalties, there's less goals, and then they're worried that they're going to lose fans and money from that. So it's all about the money.
All about loads of money. Next question, Hamza M. He's got 3 questions, which is brilliant. The last one is particularly fantastic. He says, do you think we'll ever see Maresca, Farioli, and De Zerbi in the Serie A? His second question is, do you think Porto can win the Europa League this season? The defense is the best in Europe. They create a ton of chances and play really good football. And finally, have you seen England? They're already doing dark magic to win the 2026 World Cup. Beckham and Neville were at the World Economic Forum meeting lizards, and the biggest lizard, Bill Gates.
Was that again? Did they go again this year as well? I know they were there last year. I remember Gary Neville being there last year because there was one guy was doorstepping him, asking him questions. What are you doing here? Blah, blah, blah. And he was just like trying to play it off. Oh, I'm just here for a meeting. Yeah, good old Gary Neville.
Is he the worst liar in history? Is Gary Neville the worst liar in history?
Well, Gary Neville pretends he's a man of the people. He pretends he's all a socialist and all this. He's against the establishment and piss off. If you're at the if you're going to the WEF meeting, you are one of the establishment. Let me just say that on record. You do not go to the WEF unless you're a member of the establishment. So you can bullshit as much as you want, Gary Neville, but you're one of them. And so he
was on a British game show. I can't remember which one it was, where they just destroyed him for taking money from Qatar and then pretending to be against Qatar. It was just hilarious. I can't remember when it was when the World Cup. Yeah, it was hilarious. No, I do think that England are going to win the World Cup. I really think this is it, and it's in America as well, and that's the one they want. And I think it's time for them to win it. I think they have a team that's good enough. I think Harry Kane is in the form of his life. I've never seen Harry Kane better than he is right now. I think he is just unbelievably good. I think he's in the peak form of his career, and it's not like he was bad before. But I think he's in the peak of his career. The other players have all matured. No, I think England are spoilt for choice. And I think England will win the World Cup. And I think it's time England won the World Cup as well. It's been way, way too long. I know that gives you like PTSD, just me bringing that up. But no, I think it's good. It's not fun when it's the same teams winning it. I mean, if Spain wins it again, we've just had the Spanish dominance, not too long ago. It's nice to have new teams winning. I mean, I want Germany to start winning again. I don't want the same teams dominating over and over again. And England haven't ever won it for real, if we're honest. They didn't really win it.
The same teams won it. I think there's been quite a few differences. I mean, Spain. Oh, wait, you were talking about Euros, yeah. I mean,
Euros and World Cup.
World Cup, Argentina, France before them, Germany, Spain. Italy. Brazil.
Yeah, but these are teams that have all won it.
So really, until France 98, there's been a different winner every single year since 98. So I think we have.
No, but I'm talking about new winners. Do you know what I mean? Like someone who hasn't won it for a long time. England hasn't won it since '66, and if we're perfectly honest, they didn't really win it in '66. The Soviet referee who hated the Germans in the immediate aftermath after that Second World War gave them the ball.
This is for Leningrad. Yeah, I think
it was pretty. No, this was for the burning of Moscow.
For Stalingrad. I think exactly. I think that was a fake quote, to be honest. But yes, it wasn't over the line, and modern technology has shown it wasn't over the line, and that's actually been conclusively proven now. But it wasn't over the line. But I think England have the team to win it. I think that the question with England and they have the manager as well. I think the question might be the climate. I think that might be an issue. The English are not. They're not used to that kind of climate. And I think in that kind of climate, keeping the ball and being, having a midfield that just controls and dominates the midfield should be I mean, we've seen past tournaments in the like 94 World Cup, 1986, 1970, these kind of tournaments, the teams that kind of kept the ball the best, generally have an advantage. Let's say that. So I think that might count against England, but no doubt about the players. No doubt about it.
They have such a good side. Like it's a little bit now and never. And since I kind of
Spain are outstanding as well, though. Spain are the best. I think Spain are the best team.
Agreed.
Collectively, and obviously have some great individuals as well. A lot will decide luck. Luck is always form, injuries. England have been quite fortunate in recent tournaments. They haven't had any major injuries. So, it depends. If they were to lose Harry Kane, for example, they'd be in big trouble.
They don't. There literally is nothing behind him, is there? Like there's no.
No, I mean, there's a massive drop off. Yeah, there's a massive drop.
There's nothing. There's nothing. Like it's. Yeah. But no, I think Spain, England, France are the big favourites, if we're perfectly honest.
France should be, but if the manager's not the best. But yeah. Yeah. As for the managers, Maresca, Farioli, De Zerbi, it depends how good they are. I mean, difficult. Managers are going to go like players. The best paid salaries are going to be outside of Italy.
I want to see De Zerbi back. I want to see all three of them, especially De Zerbi back in the Serie A, because I don't, he did it right at Sassuolo. I don't think it was fantastic by any stretch of the imagination, but I would love to see Roberto De Zerbi at Fiorentina, like a club like that, or a Lazio, or somewhere like that, to see what he can do there. That's what I would love to see. As for Maresca, I think he's doing a good job at Chelsea. And that's why I don't think we'll see him in Italy for a foreseeable future.
Yeah, Juventus really like, but it's difficult. Like, I mean, I guess Juventus, Milan, Inter could have a chance, but it's difficult. Again, if they're competing against the biggest teams in Europe, again, they're going to pay bigger salaries, like with players as well.
As for Farioli, he's doing a brilliant job at Porto, just like Hamza said. And if they can win the Europa League and win, Porto have a history of finding the right manager for the right squad and doing really well both domestically and in Europe all at once. So if they're able to do that, he would be one of the hottest managers around, wouldn't he? So I'd love to see him in the Serie A.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know whether they win the Europa League, but I think they've got a chance, and they've got an incredible defensive record. 3 goals conceded this season, so it's like Arsenal, mad.
Yeah. Next question, Jordan Maddox says, "Hi, Neiman Carl." He's making fun of that little thing you said last week, I think it was. I'm a Roma and Villa fan. I still have a gut feeling, despite Roma losing to Pilsen and Villa, a road-sign bird of prey. Both sides will meet in the final. Both sides are now grinding out results, but still not in top gear. Villa have superior finances, but Roma more European experience. How would you see that potential matchup sharing up? P.S. Let's send Leon Bailey to Lecce. I don't know what he wants to send Leon Bailey to Lecce. How would Villa and Roma, how would that shape up? That's an interesting...
I mean, didn't Villa smash them in pre-season? Or am I imagining that? Didn't Aston Villa play... Didn't Aston Villa play Roma in pre-season, beat them 4-0? Am I completely making that up?
I don't know. I honestly can't remember.
Let me Google that. I'm pretty sure that Aston Villa played Roma and they beat them 4-0. Yes, they did. They beat them 4-0. So, that was in August. Listen, I think that the Roma need to just worry about themselves to start with before worrying about Villa. They've got 1 win from 3 games. Again, like Juventus and Napoli, this game this week is absolutely massive for them. And if they don't get a win in this, then they're in trouble, like risking not qualifying. So they have to get a win, and they've got a couple of difficult games coming up in the Europa League. Not necessarily so much the quality of the opposition, but going away to Rangers and Celtic is, those are really difficult grounds to go and play at. So they're away to Rangers this week, then away to Celtic in the match day after. So or the match day after the next one. They've got Midtjylland, then they've got Celtic away. So they've got to be careful. They have to be careful. But Villa are struggling this season as well. Villa are really struggling. But form will be different when it gets to the new year or when it gets to kind of March.
I really like Unai Emery, and I would love to see him in the Serie A. I really would. I always thought he's such an underrated manager. I thought he was very unfairly treated when he was at Arsenal. I like Unai Emery. I would love to see him in the Serie A.
And he is Mr. Europa League as well, so you can never write him off.
No, you can't. Mike de Rob says, fun question. How engaged are you guys with the group chats on Patreon? Personally, love the banter and incredibly detailed insights and information that appear in the forum. It's fun watching games live and chatting and complaining along with the others, and there seem to be people all over the world. Personally, I'm based in Australia, and there's a few of us who keep things humming along whilst the rest of you sleep. Do you check in and read the comments, and are there any particular personalities who should catch your eye? P.S. Should Chiesa be allowed back in the Italy team? A joke. I do follow it. It's really nice to have a forum where people of all persuasions, teams supporting all backgrounds, everywhere in the world can actually have a intelligent debate without it deteriorating into a shit show. So I actually think it's really, I like the chat. I read all the comments. I do. I just, it's just maybe, I don't really engage because I feel like that's more for the patrons, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? If someone asks a question, then I reply. But other than that, I try to just stay out because I think that's more for the patrons.
I follow all of it. The way that we work generally is I let Nima reply to pretty much everything on
we divide the work up.
And on social, because if it's more than one, then it just becomes impossible to manage because one person will reply and then it'll be for the other person and then one person will miss it. It's just easier just to let one person do it all. So Nima basically does everything, but I do go into the group, and I think you guys have some fantastic debates in there.
Yeah,
it's also funny. There's a lot of humor. There's a bit of banter. Yeah. It's everything. It's everything that community should be. And yes, there's some great figures. I mean, I always single out. I love Hamza M because he knows
he's mental like you.
He knows how to push my buttons, with certain things that he says, like that WEF comment. But I love it. I love you, all you guys, man.
Yeah, same. No, I think there's some cool characters there, and I love reading what people write, and it's always interesting, like reading the analysis and debates and discussions. It's all very. I like it. I really like that forum. I really enjoy reading it. Nick Passaretti said, Jack Hacken, sorry. Hi, Neiman Carlo. Is Allegri proving people wrong in the notion that he can't develop young players? Bartesaghi has been starting and playing well and will be making the national team soon at this rate. And can Mr. Carlo Montgomery Burns please get his act together with a proper Dutch pronunciations for Dutch names? Otherwise, I have no further criticism of this excellent.
I'm going to say, now that I know it annoys you so much, I'm going to say Boy Kamer every single week. People that know me well know that if
that's the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, that's the wrong way to go about it with me. Because if I know something annoys somebody, I will just do it more. Like that's me my whole life.
We're exactly the same that way, both of us.
So you made a big mistake, Jack. No, but yeah. Boykema is what's the right way?
Bokema. He told me that it's Bokema.
Bokema, right.
Bokema.
Boykema, right, okay.
Boykema.
From Western African player, Boykema.
Yeah, he does sound like he's from South Africa when you say that. As for Allegri proving people wrong, well, I'll leave the floor to you.
I don't know. Bartesaghi, I don't want to jump the gun on him. I mean, I think it's good that he's playing, and that's great. He has an interesting frame. He's 6'5", big physical specimen. But also he seems to be he can come across as a little bit one-dimensional in the way that he runs. Like he runs in straight lines, his movement, a bit robotic from what I've seen of him. But I want to see more. Like he's great. Like, he's young. How old is he? 19? 20? 19?
I think he's 20. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so look, he's very young. I think it's great. Let's just hold off until we've had a run of games before. Let's say, I've seen, links of him being called up to the Italy national team, being, he's 19. Italy national team, scouts from Arsenal coming to watch him. that's all great, but let's just hold off and give him a bit of time to develop. We've got plenty enough left backs for the Italy national team. I don't think we need to start calling him up yet. I think, but I'm glad to see that he's getting game time. I really am.
And I'm really, for me, the thing that made me happiest from an Italy national team perspective is Ricci working with Modric in this last game against Roma. I thought that was very important. I really like Ricci. I think him, Tonali, and Barella.
Of course, there's the question is when Rabiot comes back from injury. Rabiot is obviously going to play. So, but you need more than 3 players. You can't go through the whole season with 3.
No.
So midfields. The unfortunate thing is that obviously Milan are only in the Scudetto, only in the Serie A this season. So, yeah, once you probably
do you think that Allegri can do it and win the Scudetto?
I just repeat what I've been saying all this season, and I've put it down to its simplest formula. That is, if Milan keep creating more than they're conceding to the level that they are this season, yes, they are in the Scudetto race and they can win it.
They are in the Scudetto race. I think we know that based on the points. But I'm saying, do you like?
They're in the Scudetto race now, but yes, they can maintain it and win the Scudetto. Yes, if they continue this. The question is, can they maintain that? We're 10 games into the season.
Shake off the feeling that it's Allegri's year. Like, I've got this creeping sensation coming at me more and more that he's going to win it.
It's a great story. It'll be a fantastic story if he does it, because
he wins Milan's second star. It's, I don't know, and Modric, and I don't know. I'm not changing my prediction. I'm not changing my prediction. I still think Napoli are the favourites, and I still think they'll win it, like overall. But I've got this creeping feeling this could be Allegri's year.
It's not impossible. Like I said, if they continue the way they're going, the way they are right now, they can do it. Just bear in mind, I didn't say that when Juventus had that good start to him. Was it in this?
No, you didn't.
Which season was it? Was it the 3rd season? Or was it the 2nd season?
I can't remember.
I think it was
the 3rd.
Where they made that really good start and they were neck and neck with Inter up until.
But that was the second. That was the 2nd season. Then.
It was the 2nd. They were neck and neck up until.
No. Sorry, 3rd. It was Inter's
whichever
3rd.
Season it was, they were neck and neck with
Inter's 3rd, and I think that makes it. If it was Inzaghi's 3rd, that makes it Allegri's 2nd. Was it? No, or 3rd? I can't remember. I really can't remember.
It was. They were neck and neck up until midway.
January, February.
Yeah, with Inter, and
it was the season.
I said all along, this is unsustainable.
You did,
and it was.
You did.
In the end,
remember it
to be unsustainable, and they collapsed, right, and had the worst second half to a season I think Juventus have had for decades. Now, I'm not saying that now, because the difference now is I'm actually watching Milan's performances and I'm looking at those hard numbers, which are how much they create in, how much they concede in, what's the XG for, what's the XG against. And right now, the way they're playing, they're in Scudetto challenging form.
I'm sorry,
underlying
over 3 XG without penalties in one game is insane. Like they had against. So
yes, they do have a chance, but again, we don't know. We have to see if it continues. I think the fact that they're playing once a week gives them a real chance.
The upside down world. Allegri becomes the king of youth and scores and makes XGs over 3. Spalletti starts playing well with a 3-5-2. We've gone through the looking glass here.
Usually it's when you're playing in Europe, that's when things can come off the rails very quickly, because you can suddenly the team gets tired, looks tired, they get a load of injuries, and then suddenly they go on a bad run. And it's just game after game after game, and it just becomes really, really difficult. They won't have that problem. And that's the problem that Napoli, we're already seeing it, even though they're somehow still top of the league. But you can see that they're really struggling. They're really fighting at the moment. And Inter are going really well now, but it could happen to Inter. They could suddenly...
it could happen to all of them.
I think Kivi's doing a really good job at rotating at the moment, but, they could get a bunch of injuries and all of a sudden... same thing could happen to them. Milan shouldn't have that problem.
Fair point. Next question. Nick Passaretti says, He's got 3 questions. He says, even though it's still early, with Fiorentina in the relegation zone, do you think there's a real chance they get relegated after Pioli is sacked? And also, other than Juve during Calciopoli scandals, what teams were you shocked about that got relegated that you remember saying, how the hell did this team do so bad? And thirdly, do you guys think Scudetto will be bought by a top 5 team in January? Maybe a few injury crises lead to a bidding war. You never know. Fiorentina in the relegation zone after Pioli's sacked? No. I think at some point the quality has to start showing itself, and they are too good to be in the relegation zone.
Yeah, agreed.
That's where I am. As for how did they get relegated,
Fiorentina.
I was going to say exactly that. When they were leading the league, weren't they, at some point? And
92, 93.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they had Battistuta and
ended up in the Serie A.
Laudrup had to hide in the back of a car. The day they got relegated, the afternoon they got relegated, the fans were rioting and they wanted the players' blood. And look, Brian Laudrup tells the story of how coming out of leaving the stadium from the parking lot, he had to hide in the boot of the car I don't know if it was his agent or somebody. He hid in the boot of the car.
Wasn't it after they lost to Juve that the manager was sacked for no reason, and then the wheels came off? This was during the Cecchi Gori era, if I remember.
Yeah, I can't remember.
I've got a memory of that.
I just remember thinking at the end of the season, looking through Fiorentina's squad and thinking, how the hell did this team get relegated? And then you just look at their team in the Serie B the next season. It's like Battistuta, Effenberg, Toldo, Lorenzo Amoruso. It's just like, what the? Like, how does this even happen? Yeah. So I think them. I also think, to a lesser extent, Sassuolo, just a couple of years ago.
Thank you. That was my second one.
Yeah.
How the hell did they, I don't understand that.
Compared to some of the teams that stayed up. I mean, Berardi getting injured sort of like midway through the season, I think, if he'd have stayed fit the whole season, probably they would have still just about stayed up. But yeah, it was just a bit of a disaster. And that season, didn't they beat Inter and Juventus away from home that season?
They did,
if I remember rightly.
Yeah, they did. As for Scudetto, I hope he isn't bought by anyone in January because I want Cremonese to do well. I love this Cremonese side. They are such a cool side.
He's not good enough for a top 5 team. He's somebody that has to play for a a team that's more of a. I think he's suited to a relegation team. He's suited to a real kind of industrial provincial team that are fighters, that are underdogs, that he can just fight and have a cause to fight for. I think he's more suited to that. In a team where it's more refined and everything, I just don't think that suits him.
I think you're right. Next question comes from Paul Oljak. He says, hi guys, who do you think is the most complete striker ever? For me, it's Battistuta. He could score with both feet and his head, could hold up play and beat defenders one-on-one. Well, I think we should just choose players we've actually watched play rather than dig into the archives kind of thing. Let's just go with players that we've watched play. I think Battistuta is an excellent shout. Excellent shout.
Excellent. Marco van Basten is the most complete striker that I've ever seen. He had everything. He right foot, left foot, headers, back to goal, playing in front, getting in behind. Great finisher, holding the ball up, bringing others into play, linking up with his teammates. His footballing brain and IQ. Just his elegance. He was 6'3", but he was a ballerina on the ball. The spectacular goals he scored inside the area, outside the area, volleys, bicycle kicks. I mean, he was ice cool, like an incredible temperament. There was literally not a single weakness in his game. The only weakness he had was, unfortunately, he got injured, a bad injury, and it ended his career prematurely.
Yeah. For me, I think that's an excellent shout as well. But Ronaldo, Brazilian R9, was insane. Like, it's not just that he was the most complete striker, but he changed football. If you know what I mean, like he literally he developed the striker role, technically out of this world. could create something out of nothing. Quick, strong, good in the air, not outstanding, but good in the air. Free kicks were magical. Like he could do everything. He could really do everything. He could dribble the entire pitch. He for me, it's probably got to be. We're literally talking about the creme de la creme here, and Van Basten, Batistuta, Ronaldo. I mean, it's just personal preference at the end of the day, and I think for me, Ronaldo, the way that he elevated the striker role from the 1990s to the 2000s, it was as if we took a step upwards, and it was just unbelievable.
Ronaldo, for me, the Brazilian Ronaldo, is the best one-on-one finisher of all time. If you had to pick one striker to save your life with a one-on-one, you pick Brazilian Ronaldo. He was the way that he would finish. He could do every finish. He was so cool, so accurate, just incredible.
Yeah, and shame. Speaking of injuries, his career was marred by injuries as well.
More than marred. I mean, destroyed really, and still had an unbelievable career.
Indeed. Right. Next question. Vito Campanelli says, "Hi guys. I think after this season for Inter, it's the perfect opportunity for them to sell Çalhanoğlu and Thuram. Selling Hakan after having this solid season so far, but due to his age and selling Thuram because he can't stay healthy. What do you think? Also, it seems that Inter dominate in games when they're not facing any of the higher tier Serie A teams like Napoli, Juventus, Milan. I'm proposing Inter start Bisek at centre back in those bigger games and De Vrij, Cherby in smaller games. Thanks." Well, the first one with Hakan.
The next two questions are kind of asking the same thing.
Yeah. I can read them as well. So Martin Tede Pedersen says, "Watching Inter Fiorentina this night, I wonder if Bisek couldn't be a better solution in the middle of the three-man defense on the right. He seems a bit out of position. He's got a lot more speed compared to De Vrij." And Magnus Kaufmann says, "If De Vrij and Acerbi leaves this summer, Inter need two centre-backs. Gila and Sole are linked, both born in 2000. Gila is having a really good season at Lazio. He's very fast. So he could be a good fit for Kivo's high line. Also, Nima, I remember you already praising Sole. If the charges against him are off until the summer of 2026, could he still be an option? I'll wait a couple of weeks to ask if Bisek could be a starting centre-back. We must see him in more games." Magnus from Oslo. Okay, well, let's start with the Çalhanoğlu-Thuram thing before we go to the Bisek and defenders. Thuram injury is becoming a thing, isn't it? Like, it is a problem. But at the same time, selling him and bringing in who? Because I think Thuram is so important and so decisive for this Inter and how they play. I think if they sell Thuram, they have to bring in another coach and play a different set of football completely.
Well, you don't sell him. I think, listen, you don't sell him mid-season, obviously.
No.
That's not what Morata does anyway. So I don't think, I think that this is a question that you don't even need to have until about March. You see how he goes in the next few months. If he's still this, if the injuries continue until March, then I think then you make a decision. But then you also need to wonder, well, am I going to find a buyer if he's this injury prone? So it can go both ways. But yes, I think you don't make that decision now.
No, but you need to worry about his contract as well. I think he's got 2.5 years or just under 3 years.
Well, that's when you make the decision. Yeah. That's when you make that decision.
As for Hakan, I think it's time to start thinking about life after Hakan.
I have to say, he's been outstanding this season.
He has been outstanding, but you have to start thinking about it, You don't want that to turn into another Chairs Handanovic situation. And given that he came on a free transfer, it's a plus Valenza waiting to happen. So I think you need to have that conversation. I really think so. But I think he's been brilliant this season. I agree with you. As for Bisek, look, as we said on the Monday pod, I think he could, this has been something that we've been speaking about. Inter fans have been speaking online about for almost 2 years. Can Bisek play in the centre back? I think on paper, he has everything to play there. But whenever he has played there, it's not looked good enough. He's been better as a right centre back. But I do think it's worth kind of testing him there and seeing if he can work there. And it seems to be the strategy as well. But he's not the finished product. And I think that's the most important thing to be said. right now he's not the perfect fit. But to answer that other question about Sule, I don't think he's the perfect fit either. I don't think there are any options out there that spring out to me as the ideal solution to the centre-back position if Inter are to continue with the back three. So I think this experiment needs to continue, and they need to see until the end of the season if they can actually mold him into being that centre-back. That's kind of where I am on this.
I think that the only thing I would add to that is just a tactical one. I think that the good thing about having Missak is it does allow Kivu to play more of his natural game, going high up, and with Acerbi, who has been a little bit iffy, I think, this season in some games. You obviously can't do that. So, but then again, Missak, at the same time, Missak has to put the level of performance just because tactically he fits. If he doesn't play well, then what's the point? So yeah, I think it's the jury's still a little bit out there on that one, especially after the last game.
Agreed. Next question. Vince Van Patten says, "Hey Niman Carlo, something I've been curious is to hear your opinion about who do you think Mateo Kovacic lived up to his potential? Maybe it was because I was young, but when he was at Inter, I was confident he would become as good as Modric, and I feel like Madrid brought him in to be Modric's successor. But I feel he never really became the world-class midfielder everyone expected him to." Thoughts? I agree 110% with that analysis and opinion. That's exactly how I feel about Kovacic.
Yeah, I really liked him. It's just that the issue with Kovacic is he never had enough numbers in his game to be the Mezzala, if you know what I mean. So if you played him as a Mezzala, you would need him to deliver more goals and assists to warrant him being in that position. And he's never had enough assists and he's never had enough goals. Certainly goals. He's not got a good shot outside the area. He's never really been able to shoot very well. And so there wasn't that goal threat with him. So that kind of held him back reaching that next level. It doesn't mean he's had a great career, don't get me wrong, but to reach that level that probably we thought maybe he could get to. And then, so if you didn't play him there, he was never really, I don't think he was ever naturally suited to be a regista at the base, I don't think. So I think he was just maybe lacking a little bit, and he couldn't control the game as well as Modric. One thing about Modric is Modric could dictate. I think Kovacic can do that, but he was never really that good enough to be the main man at controlling the game. And also maybe penalised a little bit that all the teams that he was at, there was always someone
who was better.
Who was a little bit better than him that became the central cog. So for Croatia...
And above all, more consistent.
Yeah.
So
Croatia, Modric was always going to be the main man. So he was always playing a supporting cast member to Modric. And then for like Real Madrid, obviously there was Modric again. There was Kroos, Casemiro. And then at Chelsea, Chelsea had some outstanding central midfielders as well when he was at Chelsea. So he was probably a little bit unlucky there. Maybe he needed to join a club where he could be the main man. And then maybe we would have seen a different outcome, maybe. But we still can't say he hasn't had a bad career.
No, he's had a great career, but did he fully the potential? I don't think he did.
I think he's had a few injuries as well, didn't he? Probably, which held him back a little bit as well, maybe.
He absolutely did, and that was a problem as well, for sure. I just still feel that he never, because
in some ways Modric probably penalised him. But the thing is, if you play Modric, with Luka Modric, you're not going to get many goals from Modric, and you're probably not going to get that many assists. So if you're playing a three-man centre midfield with Modric and Kovacic, yes, you might dictate and control the game in midfield. But from two of your three midfielders, you're not going to get any goals or assists. Now that's a bit of a problem, especially in the league season where you need some guarantees from goals from your midfield. You're already getting nothing from those two. And we actually used to see that with Croatia, even during this outstanding period of Croatia. They had a lot of games that were 0-0, like winning on penalty shootouts and extra time. So you even saw it on that level as well.
That's fair. Next question, Gman or Gman. I can't remember how he wants to pronounce Gman.
So you're bigger beaver than me today, Gman.
But I can't remember if it was G-Man or Gman. I think, but I don't know. It could be G-Man. It could be Gman. I don't know. Gman. I don't know. Let us know, Gman or G-Man. This may come off as a bit extreme, and it's merely something that crossed my mind. Do you guys think that Udinese could maybe have a couple of overachieving Bologna-esque seasons in the near future with Runjaic? And dare I say, could Zaniolo be back and be the talisman? They do face the problem that nearly all of Italy does with players leaving after a good season or two, like with Pioli, Udogi, Samardžić. We already kind of touched on the Zaniolo thing on the Monday pod, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So, but yeah, nothing would make me happier than to see Zaniolo.
I think the problem with Udinese is that they generally always lose someone or some players or some people at the end of each season because they're not. Whereas Atalanta, I mean, that's to be fair. Atalanta do always generally sell one or two every summer as well. But I think they've maybe they've done better to keep hold of players. It's easier for them to keep hold of players because they're such a good position financially. And then the Udinese, it's hard for Udinese to do that. I think it would all need to come together in one season. But they're recruiting well. They're recruiting some great youngsters. They're doing some good work there, Udinese.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add to that. Missak Ulikian says, Juve generating their highest non-penalty XG of the season at 2.03 on Spalletti's first game in charge is kind of sad generally on how bad the team was offensively. But does it also show the team's potential, or is it just the new manager bounce? And also, Koopmeiners back at left centre-back, like his Arteta Alkmaar days. Maybe it will be another Luciano masterstroke as he has done each time in different teams. I had no idea he played as a left centre-back at Alkmaar.
Yeah, he's played there for the national team as well. I'm not sure, though, Missak might know, I'm not sure if that was in a back three or a back four.
Yeah.
It's how you said days, because that's important. You know, there's a big difference between playing left centre, especially if you're more naturally a midfielder. The big difference between playing left centre. It's a bit like, you know how like the Antonio Conte style of playing like fullbacks as a right or left centre back as the braccetto. What do they call it in Italy? The
braccetto.
Yeah, kind of like the arm, left or right arm. It's a big difference playing there in a back three than playing in a centre back in a four-man back line. So that's the big question with Koopmeiners. As for what was the other question? Oh, the potential of a team offensively. Listen, my issue with a team offensively is the construction of that attack. And that's been the issue. That's where things have just gone so badly wrong. They've got 3 number 9s there. If Spalletti goes to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, can you play Vlahovic, Openda, David? Can you play more than one of them at one time? I know Openda has sort of like played in the wide roles occasionally before in a way that, say, like a Moise Kean has occasionally played. But as he has said himself, his natural role is as a central striker, centre attacker. So, yeah, that's that. And then Yildiz, Conceição and Zagrova, if he ever gets over this chronic injury he's got, can those two play together? So the difficulty that Spalletti is going to have with just the attackers is how does he fit them in? Are they fit? You know, can you fit them together? That's going to be difficult. Will he, though, get the team playing better football, more patterns of play, get the ball to the forwards better, improve the passing? Like, I'm sure he will. So that surely will help. But just how much potential this team has offensively, I think it was maybe it was overrated a bit, probably including by the likes of us in saying, you know, oh, Juventus have brought all this attacking talent, but actually, how did you piece it together? We'll see. We'll see what Spalletti can do. But yeah.
And if he continues playing a 3-5-2 and Koopmeiners is a revelation as the left centre back, then I mean, it will be. I don't know what to say. But yeah, it's an interesting proposition. Like I said, just repeat what I said on the Monday pod. I'm really curious to see how he fits in Yildiz. I'm really keen to see how Locatelli does. I'm really keen to see how he does with Cup miners and so on. Right, next question. Adamo Principe says, what does Fabiano Parisi need to do? Does he need to go to get more playing time at Fiorentina? I remember when he was highly touted at Empoli. It's a shame to see him rot on the bench in Florence. Or is he just another case of us not being as good as we thought? So what do you make of the Il Pendolino di Serino, as he was nicknamed in Avellino? Because he is from Avellino, isn't he?
I'm not sure if he's from Avellino.
No, he grew up in Serino. I know that. That's why they called him.
Okay, yeah. I know he played there. I wasn't sure whether he actually.
No, he grew up there, and that's why they called him Il Pendolino di Serino.
Serino. Yeah. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, it's a shame. I feel a bit disappointed because I really had high hopes for this guy.
Me too.
And I believe that there was something there. But I don't know. I don't know what was. Yeah, it just hasn't happened for him. I don't know.
It just hasn't happened for Fiorentina, has it? It's just
no. I mean, he had a season with Italiano, who's usually good with youngsters, and he didn't improve under Italiano. And then Palladino, he got a bit more game time at Palladino, but it was often being played like in midfield. Like he was even playing centre midfield in some games. And then this season, I mean, we've not really heard much of him at all this season. How much has he played this season? He's barely played at all. And so, it's a shame because I think he has something there. He can't defend very well. Marking, positioning, defending the back post especially, God. But going forward, really lightning fast, up and down that wing, incisive. Yeah, it's a shame. He needs to leave.
I think he needs to leave Fiorentina. I think he needs to go someplace where he can be played as a wing back and consistently.
He's not young either. He's going to be 25 next week.
Yeah. Agreed. Last question. Sanat says, hi guys, Formula One saw a surge in following after Drive to Survive on Netflix. In many ways, it was one of the drivers for its current popularity in the US among non-traditional fans. Though I have not watched a single episode, I can see its appeal to casual fans. I think the Serie A is missing a massive opportunity by not having something similar. Think about it. Only top 5 league with an actual title race this season and last. Different winner every year for the past 5 seasons. Unlimited drama between coaches. And if that's not enough, throw in the Curva fan groups. Are you aware of any plans for Serie A to create a show like Drive to Survive? Or perhaps you should create your own series? Cheers.
Not aware of any shows coming up.
No, not aware.
But I don't know. I mean, there has been some really good documentaries, not Serie A influenced or created by the Serie A, but there's been some really great Italian football documentaries like in the last few years. I mean, I don't know did you see the Sampdoria one? The one that was made, Vialli and Mancini helped make just as Vialli was in his last months. It was it called The Good Season, or let me see what it's called. It's on Amazon. I really would recommend that documentary. It's absolutely fantastic. It's on the title-winning season in 1990-91, and also touches upon the season after when they reached the final of the European Cup, and it's absolutely brilliant. There's been some really good documentaries like that on Serie A, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's been the kind of all or nothing series. There was one on Juventus when they were shit, which always makes for good viewing. When the team's doing badly, it's almost better when they're doing badly than when they're doing well. So maybe it'd be good. Serie A made an honest series documentary on all the shit show in Serie A. Including all the fuck ups in it. Could you imagine, like the racism scandal with the monkeys, the gypsy campaign,
the monkeys will never like that. That went viral to the point where my mum, like Iranian WhatsApp groups, it hit. And my mum sent it to me going, what the actual effing F is going on in Italy? Like, what are they thinking? And I was like, welcome to Serie A. And I keep saying I feel so bad for that artist because I actually think he's a cool painter and that's his thing. He puts monkeys in human situations. and he got thrown to the lions by the Serie A and was accused of being a racist, this, that, and the other. And he was like, no, this is what I do. It's got nothing to do with racism. If anything, it's the complete opposite. And it was just so poorly handled by the Serie A at every level, as these things usually are. But hashtag don't call me gypsy. It's just, yeah, that's
The documentary on Sampdoria is called La Bella Stagione. So it's the beautiful season, and I believe it's on Amazon. I don't know if that's in every country though. In the UK, it's on Amazon. The rights were sold to Amazon, but I'm sure you can get it. If not on Amazon, then you can get it somewhere in other countries. It's a really, really fantastic documentary.
I haven't seen that. I have to check that out.
Yeah,
I have to check that out for sure. My favorite football documentary of all time is The Last of Football's Proletarians, which is about the 1980s IFK Gothenburg team.
Which I still want to watch, and you still need to somehow get me a copy, because I've wanted to watch that for about 15 years.
I know, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not sure if there's an English I'm sure there is. If you just Google it. I've
tried, and I haven't been able to find it.
You haven't?
No.
Really? Wow.
Not in English, no. I've tried looking for it, but I haven't been able to.
Well, they are from Gothenburg, the people who made it. I'll probably have to use a few contacts to get in touch with them and ask them if there is an English way to find it.
No, I've always wanted to watch it, because I used to work with someone who actually was invited to the screening of it when it came out, and he told me, as it was coming out, how amazing it was, and he told me how angry he was getting in the cinema watching it when the part that they did when Gothenburg got robbed by Barcelona in the semi-final.
One of the worst robberies.
He said, I was furious. I was shouting, even though the game was like 25 years ago. I was getting so angry, when he was watching.
And it's funny because I've spoken to Jonny Ekström, who played for Bayern Munich, Reggiana, etc., lots of teams, Empoli. When you talk to him about that game, he doesn't mince his words. He's like, the referee was bought. Like, he just says it out to you. Like, they feel like, and of course, Glenn Hussein, who we interviewed and told the story, he was supposed to play in that game, but he'd never had the chicken pox as a child, and he got the chicken pox, so he couldn't play in that game. And it's like they were 3-0 up after destroying Barcelona at Ullevi, and then they were completely robbed. But Barcelona got their comeuppance in the final, so that's a little bit of a.
They missed all their penalties in the final, in the penalty shootout, every single one of them. Yeah,
they got their comeuppance. Yeah, never forget that. It was. But yeah, it's in a part of that documentary where Don Cornelius' son visits Stefano Borgonovo in the hospital because he was at Como afterwards. There is a Serie A connection there as well. The Gemelli del Gol, as they called them. Right, that's all of the questions sent in from you guys on Patreon. Make sure to, if you want to send in a question, to send it out via DM on Patreon. We'll be back tomorrow. By the time this comes out, we'll be back tomorrow on Wednesday and Thursday with a post-match reaction of all of the Serie A teams in the Champions League. So until next time, take care of yourselves and each other. Ciao, ciao.